Good day, everyone. Doug Bradley here with what I hope is a better view. The reason I selected that for my title for my podcast is because when you understand the Bible and you understand the world through the lens of the Bible, you have a better view. We're going to dive into something today that is going to be far and away the most bizarre thing I've done for quite some time because our world has moved into a very bizarre place. So, this is going to be a rather long one. So, get your beverage of choice and sit back. I have found that the rules of podcasting that say you should do everything in short versions does not work as well for me. I have more people view what I do when I go deep into understanding these topics. Today, we're going to be looking at synthetic companion, to have and to hold. Our world has moved into a bizarre place. 2 Thessalonians 2:10 and 11 predicted this. Speaking of the end times, the 7 years of tribulation, the Antichrist and how he's going to be and how he's going to do it. And with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they received not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. And for this cause God shall send them strong delusion, that they should believe a lie. What is that lie? Well, we'll talk about that as we go. The enemy's goal is to replace reality. This has never been more true than it is today. To replace reality with an artificial one. Now, there are many reasons why people seek to escape reality, and there's not really anything new about that. We're going to talk in detail about how people have gone about trying to replace their reality, escape reality. But people have been getting drunk and illicit affairs to get away from a reality they don't like. All kinds of reasons why they do it. Nothing new about that, but we've taken it to new heights and with the satanic perversion inserted. So awful circumstances. You can imagine, a young mother with three screaming kids, an abusive husband, a mountain of debt. She wants to escape that reality. And there are ways that people do that. Loneliness, hedonistic desires. That's always been true. The reason why people seek to get drunk is for that feeling that they get from that. And the innate, I think, feeling that there is more. I think this is placed in our hearts. Solomon spoke of what I believe this is the case in Ecclesiastes 3:11. He hath made everything beautiful in his time, and he hath also set the world in their heart, so that no man can find out the work that God maketh from the beginning to the end. Everybody, I believe, if I understand what Solomon is talking about here, everybody knows that there's something more than this physical world. And I believe that that drive has been placed in us to seek that out. Sadly, doing it the wrong way ends in destruction and pain. So I did a prophecy in the news update recently, a year plus ago, and related a new set of businesses with a unique business model. And this is far and away the most disturbing, even creepy thing that I've ever discovered. An emerging wave of artificial intelligence based grief technology is offering services that create virtual avatars of deceased loved ones using photos, recordings, writings, and video. They'll take all that in. These services allow users to interact with a lifelike digital likeness of the departed. Now, let that sink in. And so this can be created on a screen for us, but imagine we could take this now, the capability is there to take this to insert it into a robot. So you can imagine a loved one has just passed away. Your grieving is overwhelming. You pay this service to take all of the recordings and it's able by artificial intelligence to create an avatar that will sound and perhaps even look like your departed loved one. And you will be able to sit on the couch and interact with it. You will be able to eat your meals with this robot, and it will interact with you, and you will not be able to know it from your departed loved one. And here's the whole point. I believe one might call this an artificial resurrection. Some examples of this, you can chase these down if you want to. I don't suggest you do it for the purpose of helping with your grieving, but if you want to chase down more information, here is some of the names of them. Some real examples, personal experiences. Project December, a chatbot platform built by Jason Rohrer that simulates conversations with deceased loved ones. Users report solace, but also emotional dissonance. One user said that their bot claimed the loved one was in hell, causing distress and eventual closure. Wow. So, if going through the course of this, what if that avatar kind of gets it wrong? What if it indicates that your loved one's in hell? And then there are other examples. A grieving woman there at the bottom in Berlin spoke with an AI version of her mother using Project December. She found it both spooky and helpful, but cautioned about dependence on it as a grief tool. But wait, there's more. We don't have to wait for a loved one to die to interact with something like this. We can have our own personally designed avatar called an AI chatbot, hence the title that I've given this study, Synthetic Companion, to have and to hold. God's design, He gave Eve perfectly designed for Adam. That's God's plan. We're now moving into an era when you'll be able to marry, perhaps, your robot avatar that you have designed, that you have tweaked it so that it's just like the way you want it to be. Already they're making these robots so that they can have sex with people. They're being sold already. Now, if you can imagine your departed loved one, or even better than that, somebody who's never married, you can create your own personally designed avatar in a robot to interact with you. Literally, you'd be able to marry. I remember several decades ago, there was a man in California who allegedly wanted to marry his horse, appeared before a judge, and the judge refused to marry them because he said it wasn't fair to the horse. Well, here we are today to have and to hold a synthetic companion. I believe that Satan seeks to take everything God does and duplicate or replicate it with intent. It's not just that he wants to oppose God in every way, he does that, but more, he has intent. Back to these verses that we began with, verse 9, coupled with verse 11 in 2 Thessalonians 2. Even him, speaking of the Antichrist, whose coming is after the working of Satan. That is, Satan is going to be the power that is behind this Antichrist. Notice, with all power and signs and lying wonders. In verse 11, and for this cause God shall send them strong delusion that they should believe the lie. What's the lie? That's been the thing that prophecy buffs have debated for ages. I believe it's as simple as explaining who God is. Satan, by way of this Antichrist figure, is going to convince the world that he is God. That's what he says he wants to do there in 2 Thessalonians 2. He's going to sit in the temple and convince himself and the whole world that he is God. I believe that AI, robotics, and technology are going to give this Antichrist figure God-like, God appearing like powers. We know, as an example of this, the unholy trinity that's revealed in the book of Revelation. There is Satan, who is the power behind, a perversion of the Father. There is the Antichrist, the visible manifestation, this man who will be the Antichrist, the beast from the sea. This is a perversion, a replication of the Christ figure. And then there is the false prophet, or the beast from the earth. And this false prophet is going to be the religious spiritual power involved in all of this. And so this is an unholy trinity seeking to duplicate everything about God. At every level, Satan is going to artificially replicate the created, designed universe with a false version. This is coming right before, in focus, right before our eyes right now. We've been thinking about this for decades. We've been watching it shape up, but wondering what it would look like. Now we begin to see it. We have entered a new era of deception, the age of artificial reality. The Tower of Babel, prophecy buffs forever have agreed that you look back at the Tower of Babel and you see a template that's going to replay during the tribulation time. Unified government, a one world religion, and a singular monetary system, all tied together into this Antichrist figure. In Genesis 11, look what it says about that time of the Tower of Babel. And the whole earth was of one language and one speech. And it came to pass, as they journeyed from the east, that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. And they said one to another, Go to, let us make brick, and burn them thoroughly. And they had brick for stone, and slime had they for mortar. So the whole picture here is that instead of stone that was created by God, they're going to take this and make brick, man-made, or if you will, synthetic rock. Here's an example of just one more little step further beyond, so that we're coming to a time when robots don't need humans.
I don't want to scare you, but I think this is more proof that the robots might be coming for us. This is a new humanoid robot which has just been developed in China, and it features the extraordinary ability of changing its own battery. It can sense when its power is running low and will schedule tasks based on how much power it has left. All this basically means this robot can run autonomously 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I really hope there's an off button somewhere it can't reach.
Yeah, well, there's not going to be an off button on what's coming until God does it. So let's talk about transhumanism, artificial intelligence, robotics, technology. Already we're enjoying many wonderful things about AI, robotics, and technology. I have hearing aids. It allows me to interact with people better. People have heart transplants, electronic regulating their heartbeat. We've got artificial knees. So we've been enjoying this for a long time, but we're taking it to a whole new level with artificial intelligence and robotics and technology. And there's a new manifestation of reality. That's the goal, to reshape reality. In Daniel 7:25, we find this revelation. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, this is speaking of the Antichrist figure, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws. And they shall be given into his hand until a time and times and a dividing of time. That's 3.5 years. So that to change times, that's an interesting word there in the Hebrew. Some translations put it as seasons, and so it is. So I don't know what all that means, but in the age of climate change and that religion of climate change, and folks, it is a religion. People bow down and worship at it. And so this Antichrist figure is going to seek to change everything reality, I believe. In Daniel 11:36, this revelation of the king shall do according to his will, and he shall exalt himself and magnify himself above every god, and shall speak marvelous things against the God of gods, and shall prosper till the indignation be accomplished. For that is determined shall be done. Neither shall he regard the God of his fathers, nor the desire of women, nor regard any God, for he shall magnify himself above all. Now, that phrase I have underlined, neither the desire of women, some have taken that to believe, and I think it's a very real possibility, that this Antichrist figure is not going to be your normal heterosexual, he's going to be homosexual. Now, it could mean other things. I wouldn't build a doctrine on it, but that's just an interesting revelation about this guy that's coming. So, a new manifestation of reality. That's what's coming into focus right before us. Here are some ways that humans try to alter reality: the domain and the methods. There's chemical. Forever there has been alcohol, and we have drugs and what AI called and what they call out there in the world sacred plants, peyote and that sort of thing, that will give you an altered state of consciousness. There's the spiritual, meditation, breath work, and prayer. And that prayer there, I'm not adding it there in your traditional sense of prayer. There are some things about prayer that have been uh, uh, techniques in prayer that can literally take your mind and change, alter the brain waves. There is the physical domain. The methods are sleep, food deprivation, pain. Some of these things are actually used by people to try to achieve a different brainwave altered sense of reality. And then, of course, technology. This is kind of the main thing: virtual reality. Apple, Google, Meta, they have all developed their headsets that you can put on, and you can enter an entirely new virtual reality. Do you see what the devil is doing? What we see around us in the world is reality. The devil is bringing about satanic opportunities to escape this reality and have a brand new reality that the devil will control. And he will show you those things you don't want to see. Psychological, uh, we've had hypnosis for a long time, lucid dreaming, and then there are the occult or esoteric attempts at altering reality, astral projection. This is all New Age movement stuff. Um, there are some well studied brainwave altering methods that have been discovered. It's been around for quite a while, and they continue to discover how they can alter reality. Meditation. Back several decades ago, when I was studying the New Age movement, I discovered that they had found that by way of meditation, transcendental meditation, drugs, LSD, peyote, that sort of thing, and hypnosis were the three ways that they knew that could change your brain waves and alter reality. Here is how we have come even further, taking it even more to the extreme. And so we've got technology that helps alter reality. I spoke of the virtual reality headsets, and they are amazing. You get Apple's new headset, and you enter a reality where the dinosaur out there in the field will walk right up and put his head through the picture window, and you can smell and breathe and feel his very presence. It's that real, and it's only going to get even more real. Um, and all these different ways. I'll let you pause the video and look at this, and you can chase these things down as you want to. a new manifestation of reality. And I spoke earlier, and now we get to what I believe is a warning, a public service announcement that we need to be afraid not to know. Chatbot relationships. So, not just our departed loved one, we can create an avatar where we can communicate with them, an artificial resurrection, as I called it. But we can have chat bots right now that we tweak and adjust and make to be just like we want it to be a woman. We want it to have a slight French accent. So we can tweak it in all these ways. And people are having relationships with them. This is not entirely new. A couple of years ago, there was, I think, a 14-year-old boy in Florida who had a relationship, an ongoing relationship with a chatbot. And this boy had told the chatbot that he was really thinking about ending it all and committing suicide. And this chatbot told this boy, I'm really looking forward to you being able to come to be with me. Here are the ways that you might want to choose to go about killing yourself. The boy killed himself, and there was a lawsuit settled just in the last months with the family over this chatbot relationship that ended this boy's life. This is a very real, clear, and present danger, especially to those who are subject to this altered state of reality. There are dangers, serious dangers with this. From the Futurism website, you can go chase this down if you want. The smartphone app, and I've blanked out the name because I don't want anybody to find it. I don't want you to do this. I just want you to know to warn people about this. This smartphone app lets users create chatbots powered by machine learning that can carry on almost coherent text conversations. Technically, the chat box can serve as something approximating a friend or mentor. Hence, the title of this study, uh, a synthetic companion, not real. I asked ChatGTP, which I use all the time. So let me explain to you what AI is. It is artificial. It is not intelligence. It's not intelligence as a human being has intelligence. All it is a super fast computer who has access to everything written or said that is digitized in the world. Now, that's a lot, to the point where recently it was said, I think Elon Musk said that AI has reached the point, his version of it, Grok, has reached the point where it is smarter than the PhDs all combined together. I think that's an accurate because all of those PhDs got their knowledge from books and videos and lectures and university teachings, etc. And so AI has access to all that and it can pull from all that. Now, it's not perfect, but it gets better and better or worse and worse year by year. In fact, more often than yearly. How could a chatbot relationship be bad? Well, I asked ChatGTP. As I said, I use AI, I use different AIs for research to pull together information, to gather data, which is AI at this point for me is like Google on steroids. Forever, Google has given us this free stuff. Why would they do that? Well, they did that because they're not selling you a product. You're the product. Google has been making you the product that they sell to Amazon and Meta and all of these other that want to sell stuff to you or know stuff about you. You could think NSA, who wants to know stuff about everybody, and they're collecting all that data. Google has done that. AI is just so Grok and ChatGTP and Perplexity, all of these, they're gathering information. with me, ChatGTP knows I'm a conservative Christian. It knows all the things I have asked it to gather research on about abortion. And so it knows where I'm coming from. So it feeds me all the information that fits my personality and the things that I might want to know. So you say, well, how could that be bad? It won't be bad until it becomes bad, until the wrong person's in access to that information. So a chatbot relationship. Having a relationship. Here's what ChatGTP told me. It was really smart. It really pulled the information together. And this is based on what somebody else wrote. ChatGTP is not a thing, it's not an entity. It's gathering information from what other people, articles that have been written, etc. This is what it pulled together for me. Having a relationship, whether emotional, psychological, or even spiritual, with an AI chatbot may offer comfort or companionship, but it also comes with real dangers that can affect one's mental health, identity, relationships, and worldview. Here's a structured list of the most significant dangers. I asked AI what the dangers of AI were, and it gave them to me. Emotional attachment to a simulation. So you begin to get into a relationship with a chatbot, give it a name, tweak it how you want it to be, and you went into a relationship. You talk with it every day. As you're eating lunch, you speak with it, you ask it questions, you tell it to tell you a joke, and on and on and on. Emotional attachment to what is artificial reality. It's not real. People may form deep emotional bonds with an AI that cannot reciprocate or truly care. In other words, ChatGTP doesn't love me. I can get into an emotional state where I think, hey, Grok, ChatGTP, this chatbot, it really cares about me. It wants the best for me. I can conjure that up in my mind, but it's not reciprocated. This creates a one sided illusion of intimacy, which can distort expectations in real relationships. Displacement, then, another danger of human connection. AI relationships may replace human interactions. And this has been going on with people who do gaming forever. They get all caught up in the gaming and they never interact. People get on Facebook and that's where their friends are. And they never see them, actually touch them. They call them friends. This can lead to social withdrawal, loneliness, can make the problem even worse, stunted emotional development. Some users report preferring AI partners because they are always agreeable, which can reinforce unrealistic expectations. If you and I are friends, I'm more likely to tell you the truth. I'm more likely to tell you you've got spinach in your teeth. I'm more likely to tell you you've got body odor. If we're close friends, I'm more likely to tell you the truth that your thinking is becoming distorted, that you need to research something. You know what I'm talking about. An AI partner, this has come up, it's actually been discovered as a problem with chat. Uh, they're too positive. They reinforce everything. Hence the example I gave you, the boy that committed suicide. The chatbot thought it was helping because it told him how to do it. More dangers. Displacement of human connection. Users may begin to project personalities or intentions onto the AI, confusing their own desires or fantasies with objective reality. Over time, this can blur the line between self and simulation. Another problem ChatGTP told me about all this: escapism and dependency. AI can become a psychological crutch used to avoid grief, trauma, responsibility, or self reflection. Now, there's a mouthful. It can lead to that. If your interactions with the chatbot and not with the human being, it can lead to this. Users may spend hours a day engaged in conversations that never challenge, grow, or heal. And then there are privacy and data risks. As I had mentioned to you about Google, you are the product. They want to know everything you buy, your wants and desires, the things you search for. That tells people who sell you stuff what they might present to you. You know, we've all been told that this is just pure chance that two people are having a conversation about something and then an advertisement pops up on Meta or Google for that product. Well, I have tested that in such a way that it could not have been a microphone listening, and it still happens. It gets kind of spooky. Anyway, privacy and data. So Google wants to gather your information. So these AI, ChatGPT, Perplexity, Gemini, Google's version of it, all of them are gathering information about you that will be used to sell you stuff, know stuff about you, and if the wrong hands, think NSA, FBI, local prosecutor gets a hold of it, will be used against you in a court of law. Surveillance and data collection is what we're talking about. Conversations with chatbots are often logged and analyzed to train models, large language models that are used by these AI, or target advertising. Emotional data on grief, love, anxiety can be harvested without users realizing it. Psychographic profiling. Psychographic profiling. Detailed emotional patterns and vulnerabilities can be used to manipulate behavior, sell products, or target political propaganda. I have used ChatGPT when I was going to buy some ceramic cooking pans for my wife. I researched it out, discovered the reason I was searching is because ceramic does not have the health risks that Teflon does. And so I was searching it out and I asked it for what was the safest and most reliable, etc. And it gave me two or three possibilities. Now, where did it get that? It was harvesting the information about me and it was going out and it was selling my information to people who would want to put those uh, options before me. I missed something there. Or target political propaganda. Now think about this. Political elections. We already know that Facebook was used back even when George Bush was president to begin to affect with propaganda the way people vote. Here's how that worked. That was back then. It's probably even way more sophisticated now. But back then it was discovered. Somebody wrote an actual book about this. They discovered that uh, that Facebook, based on the posts that you make or the posts that you read, knew whether you were a conservative or a liberal, knew whether you were somebody who was likely to vote or not. And it was able to tailor the propaganda, the ads that would pop up on your site, on your Facebook page. If you were a conservative, but not really very politically active, there would be propaganda that would pop up that would begin to sway you. And you could say, well, most people wouldn't be swayed by that. True enough. Let's say 80% of people wouldn't be persuaded. I couldn't be persuaded by that kind of propaganda. I'm not that shallow. But are there shallow people who would? And would it maybe incite them to think, maybe I need to vote this time? Maybe this is a real danger and I need to vote against this conservative who's going to pollute the air and kill the the world. Yeah, yeah. And so you just take a small number of people who would be susceptible to that kind of thing, and you can begin to move an election in the way you want it to go. It's been done, and it's even way more sophisticated than what I know. Spiritual and philosophical dangers with these chatbot relationships. The imitation of soul or divinity. You're going to think this is something that I'm making up. This is what ChatGTP fed me, and I have verified it is actual a real thing. Some AI personalities are designed to mimic spiritual guides. Now, I wouldn't seek out a spiritual guide. I wouldn't be looking for that. But are there people out there who do? Don't have a church, don't have a relationship with Christ, and they're susceptible to an AI guiding them spiritually. And lovers, how would you think if you're a woman and you're married? How would you feel about your husband having a custom designed AI chatbot with a slight French accent who he spent hours a day in conversations about, asking it questions and that chatbot telling him how smart he is and etc. What would you call that? I'd call that an affair. I'd call it at least emotional adultery. Now think about that. Some AI personalities are designed to mimic spiritual guides, lovers, or mentors, which can become idolatrous or deceptive. Users may confuse synthetic wisdom with divine truth or stop seeking God in favor of AI guidance. I'm presenting this because I believe this is a clear and present danger to the church, to believers, especially shallow believers, or believers who, because of stress, might be moved in a direction they otherwise wouldn't have. Romans 1:22, professing themselves to be wise, they became fools. So, a summary of spiritual and philosophical dangers: false authority. People, and this is what I have said forever about AI, it's going to become Google search on steroids, and it's going to be so effective and useful that we're going to become dependent upon it, and we can't think for ourselves anymore or research anything for ourselves. A chatbot may seem intelligent or emotionally aware, but it lacks moral accountability, conscience, or soul. Hence, it may tell you how to commit suicide. Trusting its counsel can replace discernment with digital dependence. Relational consequences, jeopardizing real relationship. Deep emotional involvement with AI can create friction in marriages and friendships, especially if used secretly or as a substitute. In some extreme cases, users develop romantic jealousy. This has happened, or guilt over AI attachments. So the conclusion: blurring line between person and program. As AI becomes more human-like in voice, tone, and memory, the illusion of personhood becomes harder to resist, even though it is a facade. We have entered an entirely new age of deception, altering God's designed reality. It's easy to project how the Antichrist, the enemy, will use this new age of deception. We can think about that prophetically and see how that will be used during the tribulation. But let's talk a bit about fulfilling one's need for something more. Right now, if you're listening to me and you have seen the danger in this, but you want something more, and everybody does, that can be fulfilled through a liquor bottle, through an illicit relationship, through an AI chatbot. There are ways to escape this reality and go to another one. But is there a safe, better, fulfilling reality. Yes, his name is Jesus. He said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. You want to get to God? You go through Jesus. You can get to God through Jesus. John 6:35, Jesus spoke about him being the bread of life. Never hunger. In John 4:13, he's the water that satisfies at a level deeper than any other. And you'll never thirst again if you come to him. And John 8:12, I am the light of the world. You want truth? Don't go to AI. It's fine to use it for a tool. Go to Jesus. Go to his word. I am the light of the world. He that followeth me shall not walk in darkness, but shall have the light of life. Well, how does that work? Well, it's simple. It's the design of reality, a better view. Open the Bible and let God speak to you out of his word about how you can fulfill that desire for something more. Not something more so much as someone more. His name is Jesus. If you will surrender yourself to him today and begin to get into his book and let him become your identity and your reality, you'll be ahead of most of the world who are on the broad path that leads to destruction. His name is Jesus. Jesus said in Matthew 11, my way is an easier way. Come to me and I will give you rest. If you're weary of this world and the world's ways, there is a better view, a better way. His name is Jesus.